All right, good day. It is a Monday. Welcome back to the work week. We've got some stuff to talk about. We've got Super Typhoon Regassa. Hope I'm saying that right. This is on the Philippines as it moved on shore last night. Winds up over 150 miles an hour, and some suggest reports of 180 miles an hour. It is still a super typhoon, which is really just a hurricane, a Cat 5 hurricane. Typhoon's a regional name for a hurricane. So we in this part of the Pacific call it a hurricane. They call it a typhoon. In Australia, they call them willy willies and sometimes cyclones. So it's all the same thing, but it's a big one and it's moving forward towards Hong Kong. They're expecting almost 1,000 flights to be canceled in that part of the Pacific over the next 12 to 24 hours. Coastal flooding. Talked about that when we got into tsunamis the other day. We were talking about there's something called a meteo tsunami, which is meteorologically caused. And a big storm like this it won't be a giant tsunami, but it will lift up the ocean a couple of feet. So it'll add to the storm surge. So the storm surge is expected to be upwards of 9, 10, 15 feet in some places. So this is, again, the Philippines last night and how it looked at that time. This is Japan right now, or Hong Kong, pardon me, and the clouds are slowly thickening up. This thing moves, just kind of skirts by Hong Kong in the next 6 to 8 hours, and it's going to downgrade a little bit more down to more of like a Category 3 hurricane, which is what we would call it, maybe a Category 2, and then rapidly drop to a dangerous tropical storm. It's already weakened a little bit as it's moved across the Philippines. So big storm nonetheless, and this is the tracking on it, and just kind of see the movement. Philippines here. This is right now in Hong Kong, it's Tuesday, right? Today's Monday here, but you cross the date line. So it is essentially that picture I showed you in Hong Kong that was live is in about 2 or 3 in the morning. And then it kind of moves over into Laos and in these areas by Thursday. So yeah, it's a big one. It's definitely one worth paying attention to. And then we've got the equinox today. And there'll be flight delays too. I think I mentioned that as well in the eastern or the western Pacific because of this. Equinox today, that's pretty awesome. Is it equal day, equal night? That's where equa, right? Latin for equal. And that's where it comes from. So when you get to the equinox, which is here, you're supposedly going to get 12 hours of sun because you're splitting the Earth, and 12 hours of dark because the Earth rotates. And the same in the vernal equinox. This is the fall equinox. This is the vernal equinox. And then these are the solstices. And you go, well, what's the deal? And it's not, it's a real simple concept that the Earth's tilted on its axis. And see, if the Earth wasn't tilted on its axis, you'd have nonstop equinox because, right, the sun would hit this side completely. But because it's tilting, in this case, in the winter, away from, here, I'll put my little arrow on it, it's tilting away from the sun, right? And in the summer, it's tilting towards the sun. So the sun gets closer to us, the sun angle changes, and you get winter and summer. In this time of year, the equinox, it is essentially 12 hours. Like this one's going to be 12 hours and 11, at my latitude in San Francisco, 12 hours and 11 minutes. Why is it not 12 hours and 12 hours? Because the refraction on the horizon stays a little lighter longer. So because of the way light bends, so you'll gain 3, 4, 5 minutes. It's never exactly 12 hours and 12 hours. And it varies, depends on where you are on the Earth, on the planet. But it's not always 12 and 12. But it's a convenient rule of thumb: 12 hours a day, 12 hours a night. Okay, we got that covered. What else we got to talk about? We're going to talk about the earthquake. That woke me up. Man, that wake you up? I came in here and all my pictures were all skewed out. I was like, wow. Yeah, it was a good earthquake. I'm kind of up above Berkeley. And so it was good. Like I would say, truthfully, that was as big an earthquake as I have felt since, this is going to sound weird, since 89. But it has to do with the soils I'm sitting on. It didn't last very long, but it was a good sized quake. I think a 4.8. It was a shallower quake, and shallower quakes have a tendency to be felt more widely and more aggressively. Yeah, because if you have, it was like I think like 4 or 5 miles deep, 6 miles deep, pretty deep. But you get down 10, 15 miles deep, you're dispersing that energy in the Earth's crust. So it's not, but when you're at the surface, just like it makes sense, right? It makes sense. It's like, no, it's a bad analogy. I was going to make a pebble in the water analogy. Okay, let's get to weather. I think we covered all the geography stuff. Yeah, equinox. Yeah, earthquake. What else about the earthquake? Yeah, it was a good earthquake. What was I going to say about it? Oh, yeah, it's interesting. What was fun was I think I woke up like you did. We all woke up, most of us, even in the city, and you immediately go to X or Twitter or whatever the hell it is, and the information coming in is hilarious. It's hilarious. It takes like an hour before anything good breaks through the through all the noise, like information. Everything else is just memes. I kind of got a kick out of that last night. Okay, so here's the fog. Good morning again. And we've got an interesting week. Well, I guess I should get right to that. We've got an interesting week coming up because we've got these weather systems that are going to continue to bring the chance of thunderstorms. Now, the next 2 days in California, especially Northern California, temperatures are going to warm. So today, back into the low 90s, mid 90s. Tomorrow, same thing. And then on Tuesday night to Wednesday, we have an opportunity for more thunderstorms. And this was originally slated for Southern California for Monday, Tuesday. Some tropical storm moisture moves in, but the models have shifted over the last day more towards the north. So we'll get to that right away. Fog along the coast, clearing along the coast, kind of a north wind. You can see that northwest wind cutting the fog down. Marine sea level, sea surface temperatures back down to more typical temperatures in the 50s. Low 60s, not in the low and mid 60s. And then down in Southern California, this is the leading edge of this subtropical moisture that is going to come. It's going to do something like this. Let's see if I can do it for you. I got my stuff. Okay, here we go. So there's a low down here somewhere, right? And that low is going to drift up here and then eject kind of through this. So between Monterey, that's a bad arrow. Between Monterey and Lake Tahoe, I'm expecting some thunderstorms. And of course, that's something that we are not stoked about because it's September and they'll be wet. There'll be some wet, but there could be dry lightning, right? So that's the thing. Some are cal fires on this. This is, I just got these new giant mugs. Right, my wife she goes, we're getting new dishes. I go, I don't think we need new dishes. The other ones aren't broken, are they? But I guess you need new dishes every 20 years, which is, I learned this from Pam. But what I do love these cups because they're giant. They're giant. So it's like 3 cups of coffee and 1 mug. So, little note of note. This is the GFS, and this is that system that I'm talking about. And so let's see if you can track it. Let's watch what it does. See, it still picks up moisture down there. See, it's spinning. Now, we call that cutoff low. The reason you call it a cutoff low is it's cut off from the main flow of the jet. This is a low, but it's looped into the jet stream. This low is not contoured or looped into the jet stream. So watch what happens. It drifts north. And see, it misses. But originally, it was going to eject due east and go in through San Diego. This is Tuesday afternoon, and it's sitting off Point Conception. And then it's starting to get caught in the westerly flow. See it? So that's interesting. That has a lot of potential to be problems. And interesting too. Watch what it does. It loops up, and then the high pressure boots it backwards. It retrogrades. Oh, wow. So that's not going to happen, I don't suspect. But what is going to happen is some form of this subtropical moisture offshore is going to visit areas, probably Malibu north, and just south of San Francisco. So Central Coast and then back into Tahoe. And then we'll go out a little further, and then that looks like a big heat up there. That looks like some fire danger, right? That's on October 2nd. And then a douse of showers, hopefully, right there. That could be rain. So we'll see. Okay, so that's what really the thing we're tracking is that little cutoff low. So this is North American. Yeah, I didn't go right back to sleep after that earthquake either, which kind of bummed me out. I was sleeping strong. I was sleeping good, man. Oh, God. And I woke up, and then I get all excited because they are kind of, earthquakes are scary and cool all at the same time. But then I always think, North American model, we're going to get to it. I always think, and I always worry when there's an earthquake, that it's in like LA, and you feel it like that up here. Do you know what I mean? So that would imply that something big happened down there or something big happened up at the triple point. And so my first thought is, oh shoot, it's big here, but maybe we're 200 miles from the epicenter, which is possible, right? That's the kind of thing that happened during Loma Prieta. Okay, so North America model, clear, nice, warm. Next couple days, back into the 90s inland, and then you'll see that moisture start to scoop up. This is on Tuesday morning, and it starts to pull. See, it starts to pull, and there it is. That's Point Conception. Remember, the first model we looked at was the GFS, so this is a different model with a little different trajectory on the activity. And then you see it, and again, this would be, there's almost no way you're not getting thunderstorms out of an air mass this moist this far north in the end of September. So this is Tuesday afternoon. So really this looks like a Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday overnight, Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And then we're into Thursday morning. What happens all day Wednesday? Hang on. Okay, there's Wednesday afternoon. So I don't think this is how it's going to go down, but suffice to say, let's just do this. Let's go, so that's the full run. So let's just go this moisture in our proximity starting on Tuesday afternoon. It shows up. So Tuesday afternoon, we'll start having a conversation about this, okay? And then we can look at, this is interesting too. This is accumulation. So how much rain are we going to see over the next 10 days? Yeah, this is GFS. So this is what it says. It just gives you so this is this is forecasting rainfall using the GFS, and it says, yeah, 1/4 inch south of Monterey. And so basically you go, oh, that's the line, right? That's the line that's what this model is suggesting for the dynamics. And then look down in the desert. There's obviously some monsoonal activity. And then watch what happens here in the north. This is on October 3rd. That's interesting. I saw that in the long range model too. And that's a really interesting, so that's extratropical. So we've got two weather systems. We got this first one, comes in from the south. That's the one that shows up Tuesday night into Wednesday. And lasts for a little bit through, a couple, 2.5 days, it lingers. Looks like Southern California might get spared. And then right around October 3rd, we get an extratropical event. So that would, does that all go down? I don't know. I think that we're going to watch that thing Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. But that's the general lay of the land this week. The next 2 days warmer than it has been in a little while. I think we'll stay below 100 degrees in the Central Valley. Fire danger will pop up, all the usual suspects. I don't see any red flag warning potential other than it's September and it hasn't rained really. And then we'll see what happens down the road beyond that, especially in that extratropical system. This is the fire weather watch. Not bad for this time of year. And you're even seeing a few prescribed burns in the area. This is off the, I don't know if they do this right. This is off of out by the Garnett Fire. And you can see that's a huge fire, right? Up over 90,000 acres. It's the containment on it's huge. And you see the smoke, not really a big issue in the Central Valley. This is Mount St. Helena, beautiful mountain, Napa Valley, if you will, if you're not from here. Santa Rosa today will go 87, 85 degrees, 88 degrees. Napa will go 87 degrees. Lakeport, that'll be a little higher. You'll probably go 85 degrees. So a really nice day. But it'd be nice to get some rain in this landscape, wouldn't it? So that's these are live pictures I'm showing you as of, it's late, 11. Told you I didn't sleep good last night, man. It's just 11. I was awake for a couple hours just doing research on earthquake recon. Lake Tahoe, beautiful day. Let's see if we can get the sun to come up for us. No, not even yet. Beautiful. I love the wind coming up the lake. A little bit of wind out there. Not bad, though. Very pleasant day. A little bit of subtropical moisture, but not much. We're fortunate that most of that moved out. That'll be a different story as we go to Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is kind of Burbankish. This is kind of Malibu, Beverly Hills, all that fancy stuff, and then LA down to the left. And I mentioned the other day, I got a few comments from you guys when I was hearkening back to, there's some of that subtropical moisture. In fact, that's the leading edge of that band that we're talking about for Tuesday for us. And you can tell it's subtropical, right? Because it's bumpy and it's early, not early, but it's not that warm. It's out over the ocean, indicating that, because the ocean's not, well, it's subtropical moisture nonetheless. But we're talking about the smog. And in this basin, this LA basin, how aggressive that smog was back in the 70s. It was leaded gasoline that made it so bad. And there's one of those times where they did legislate and came through with unleaded gasoline, and it was a really good move because it had a huge impact. I mean, you still got a little bit of nasty air down there, but it was, I mean, I was a little kid, and I remember going to Disneyland in the late 60s and down in those places, early 70s, and I'm having trouble breathing. I'm a little healthy little kid, so I can't imagine what it was like for people waking up in that, going to bed in that. So that's the air quality down there, really, really pretty nice, and really much better than it used to be. Here is Mount Tamalpais, and shallow inversion today, isn't it? Let's go. Let's do the 3-hour bump here. Oh, I see. It's going to shift. There's Mount Diablo there. So it's going to shift over and move to the west. So right now we're looking towards the northeast. You see the fog coming in over Angel Island and sneaking through. And then this is a lot of everything. Sorry about that. But what's that? How high what's the depth on the marine layer today? Robert, I'm talking to you. What's the depth? It's, I'm going to call it, well, the North Tower of the Golden Gate Bridge is right here. Right there. There's the North Tower, and it's down to the deck. The deck is about 220. North Tower is over 700 feet. So yeah, I'd say it's under 1,000. See what the profiler says. Profiler says it's at 1,000, but that's Monterey, or it's down at Fort Ord. So that makes sense. Very shallow marine layer would indicate a warming day today, and that's what the Weather Service is prompting us with. They're saying, hey, areas of moderate heat risk, because we haven't had heat for a few days. None of this is major and scary. Temperatures, again, in these Central Valley spots will be in the 90s. I think they might stay out of, there could be a low 100 in your backyard if there's a lot of concrete around or something, not a lot of trees. And they'll probably push this up again tomorrow. And then the next thing we see from these guys on the Weather Service in Monterey on Tuesday or Wednesday will be that risk of thunderstorms from that system that we're tracking. These are the highest forecasts. So Redding wants to go 95, Chico wants to go 94, Fresno 93, Los Angeles 78, San Francisco 74, San Diego 73, Santa Barbara 72. It's a nice looking day, and then watch what happens tomorrow. So I loaded up tomorrow's right next to it. So it's kind of the same thing, maybe a little bit cooler tomorrow, isn't it? Yeah, What's the mechanism for that? Sorry. A little warmer along the coast, a little cooler inland. But basically a split, not as many 90s the next day. Maybe that cloud cover starts to show up from that tropical system. And what can we see? Here's that subtropical moisture here. Can't really pick out the low that's going to scoop it up. I mean, this is the parent low here, clearly. Subtropical activity down here, which is going to feed in a couple days. That's going to feed into the desert Southwest. This is going to get there. Pretty strong storm out here. Yeah, that's a beautiful satellite though. And you can see the seasons are changing. Let's see if we can draw a jet loop in. So trough. Kind of a short ridge like this. Not sure what to do here. Yeah, I should make sure it's more. Sometimes their jet streams aren't horribly defined. Sometimes there's multiple jet streams. You got the jet stream, then you got a southern branch of the jet stream typically, and they move around a little bit. This is the forecast watches and warnings across the country. So really quiet. This is today. Little frost advisory, eastern Idaho, Montana. You got some wind stuff, and then small craft advisories offshore. And then this, I think that might be, what are they? Watches and warnings. What are they thinking about? Oh, they didn't put it up. I was going to say, looks like they've got something up here. They're not really advertising it. So a pretty nice day for across the country. And as we head into fall, which fall typically is nice, and the equinox. Days start getting, well, they have been getting shorter for a while, but they start getting markedly shorter as we move towards the winter solstice, and the tilt of the earth is now tilted away from the sun, and the days get shorter, quicker. This is the trend, 6 to 10 day for heat and for precipitation. And that, based on what we looked at, that looks about right. Okay. And earthquakes. We did do the weather off the top. So that's what I think what I'm going to do, you guys, is go models quick. And then we can jack around with earthquakes and surf and stuff like that. Because otherwise, if you need your stuff. And also remember, I'll put things in the descriptions. So if you just want to go to earthquake stuff, or if you don't want to sit through me going through my day, you don't have to. You don't have to. My wife understands that completely. So this is the Pacific Ring of Fire. These are earthquakes now. This is interesting because this is in the last day, and these are all 2.5s plus, which are, they're not microquakes, they're quakes. Up here off Russia, they've had a few quakes. That's a 5.3. I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. It was 21 miles deep. So much deeper than the 4.9 mile one we just had. The 29 mile deep one is going to have less of an impact on surface structures. This is out by the South Mariana Islands. This is yesterday, 8.3 miles deep and a 5.0. And it's interesting, we're seeing a lot more 5.4. So in the last day, on the Ring of Fire, but don't think for a minute these aren't related. Don't think for a minute that isn't related to that, which isn't related to that. I mean, we can't make a complete teleconnection between those. Well, you can, because it's all in the Ring of Fire, the Pacific Plate turning. But, like this down off Mexico, let's see what that is. That's a good sized quake. That's a 5.4. That is in the last day. And here, all along these subduction zones. So it does, there was a study once done. I've read a bunch of books on earthquakes, and there was a study done once on. It was Old Faithful, the geyser, and the activity on the Pacific Ring of Fire, and they were connecting stuff from quite a distance away. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say how far away it was, but it was a long way away. I seem to remember it was like Russia kind of stuff, and they were connecting it to the frequency of eruptions of the geyser, because it's all on the Ring of Fire. Essentially, it's all connected. So this is us last night. Earthquakes are funny because one of the things we do a thing. With everything we do this, but I know enough to know I don't know anything. Like if you don't know anything, you think you Google it, or you read a tweet, and you go, yeah, that's what's happening, because you don't know enough. If you know enough, you go, So my point is, like earthquakes, we don't know jack. We know about plate tectonics. That was awesome. Didn't come up with that until the mid 60s, but we know that the plates are moving, and that the earth, the magma's coming up, and it's constantly moving. But in terms of identifying all the faults and all the connections, nowhere near it. And I don't know if we can ever be anywhere near it. It's so complex. So here's last night, it says 4.3. So that's the aftershock, I guess. These are all aftershocks. Let me come in closer. Berkeley. I'll bet that stadium rocked last night. It says 4.3. I don't see the main quake, 2.6. But that's for the major one. Maybe they downgraded a little bit. Let's take a look at the shake map. I like shake maps. These give you an idea of what people felt. And yellow light. That's a horrible shake map, because I'm in that zone and I felt a lot more than that. Okay, well, we'll get back to that. This is the swell forecast, and this is just put in. You see the United States, North America. I just want you to see all this stuff. This is the Aleutians coming alive. These aren't storms. It's swell, but they're generated by storm. So it just shows you how healthy and active the Pacific's going to be when you start seeing these swells, which lag behind the atmospheric storm. So the atmospheric storm is already out front of this bad boy. And so it just shows me it's going to be a healthy. If I look up there and see blues and greens, I'm like, oh, this time of year, especially as we get down in towards October, I kind of get concerned about the potential. But when I see this, it's like the model's going, yeah, there's a lot of activity getting ready to happen up there. This is Ocean Beach, Great Highway, no longer working during the week. I'm not even going to get into that discussion. Wow, right? And just kind of breezy. Next couple of days, it's sort of a drive because this can be the best time of year. And I've had some surf times in September, always October, but September at the beach can get really good, glassy offshore. And this pattern's not cutting it for that. It looks like it's going to be kind of steady on shore, kind of what we're seeing. This is Malibu. It's small, and when nobody's out, I think the tide must be beefy too because it's not breaking. Yeah, see, it's a high tide right here, 5.4 feet. And you go, well, how'd you know that? Well, because the wave's not breaking. You can see it show up, but 5 feet's a lot of water to put over a reef and then expect the wave to break. This is Mount Shasta, as we so often do. Let's watch the sun come up. I love seeing the stars too. I'm always amazed there's that many people moving around at night. A little bit of smoke, but not bad. Air quality. I didn't pull up purple air today because I didn't need to. No subtropical moisture. I saw that guy passed on Mount Shasta. Did you see that? Some guy climbing. Some tech CEO, and I've climbed it, and I got in trouble up there. Not bad, but I almost got scrunched by a rock fall coming up avalanche right here years ago. But my point, because the climbing route is here, Avalanche Gulch, and you kind of go up, and then the red banks are right here, and the red banks are full of, I don't know if you call it tufa. I don't even know, not tufa. It's just lava cap, but it was cold and it froze and then it thawed and then these rocks broke. It was rock about the size of this table. It was huge, and just missed me really. Didn't by 30 feet, but that feels pretty close. But you get up here, you get disoriented, and this guy, it sounds like he got disoriented. You get altitude sickness, a lot of people do. And he went down the wrong side, and I think he ended up on the glacier, and he got in trouble. So I guess my point on that is don't mess with Mount Shasta. It's not a hard climb, but it's not a hard climb, but it's dangerous. It is, and you'll get away with it 99.9% of the time, but there's a chance you might not. So be careful when you do it. That's Mount Whitney. These are jellyfish. I'm clicking along now because I'm running out of time. And then these are seals, aren't they? Yeah, look at freaking Farallones, man. You got some sun out today. Just stay on them. What else I got? I got bears. Let's look at the seals. Bears are kind of gone right now. I think we got to come up with I think the eagles are coming back in. Okay, listen, awesome day. Hope I didn't remember. I'm going to try to do weather off the top. I hope I got to it quick enough this time. And then this end part is just so you can just drink your coffee and call BS on me. Go, what are you talking about, old man? Okay, I'll see you back here.